right, everyone. Richard Carlton here. Welcome to another awesome day of FileMaker training at fmtrain.tv, where every day is a great day to learn about the Claris FileMaker platform. I am on TDY deployed to Alabama for the current time. Someday I will shoot a video and show you folks what I'm working on. Another database out here would be in the offing. It'd be very, very exciting. We have started, Nick, today is day 2, right, of your learning process?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So day 2 of basically we did 60 days of FileMaker basics. Now we're doing a bunch of days where we're going to be doing the basics of user interface. As also a reminder for those of you who are looking for help and assistance, Nick is available to help on with some contract work. He's actually finished his completed projects, and so if you need some more than just this basic training, but you need some actual professional graphical design in your FileMaker solution so it makes it beautiful, feel free to contact us at support@rcconsulting.com. All right. Haley, are we good?
Yeah, we are good. Thank you, Richard. Appreciate that.
All right, everyone. Good luck. I'll catch you next week.
All right, thank you. Have a good one.
Thank you for joining today, everybody. So this is the day 2. We have a lot of days, so that's why we take our time, relax, and we talk about design, and we talk about many things, right? And but design is not just how it looks, it's not just this, right? So I want to talk about this, right? Because if design was only how it looks, well, why we switch it from DOS to Windows/Mac, graphical interface, right? Why? Because make DOS pretty, and that's it, right? That's all. That's all what we need to do. Make DOS pretty, and that's it, right? But the worst is that I remember an interview of Steve Jobs that says that at Apple, when he was like a pirate over there, right? There were a bunch of people saying that was a good idea to do. Make all this text interface pretty, right? That was a good idea for them, right? With a bunch of commands on the bottom, F1, F2, F4, but it's not. So design is not just how it looks, right? Design is how it behaves and how it looks, So because you can, but most of the time, if you have something behaving well, it's very hard to do something ugly, right? Or you need to violate so many rules. So there's rules, right? So there's rules for like any other thing, in the what's the name? When it's about human feeling, like that's what we call that look and feeling, right? So feeling is music, arts, pictures, painting, right? It's the feeling, oh, this photo feels good, this photo feels ugly, or this photo, for example, I'm a photographer, right? So accomplished with the license, everything, right? So I'm a technical, architectural, and artistic photographer. And that was the time where we had all those baths and all those liquids and all those papers and stuff like this, right? So not at the digital camera, and so
Yeah.
and so when you want to take a photo that looks great, what you do, you call a photographer because you're not a photographer, and because you don't know the rules, because there's rules for photos, there's rules. If you want in Instagram to get track, there's rules to manage your Instagram account to get up. If you are a TikToker, there's rules, right? So for anything, when you have to convey a message that is like a feeling to human beings, right? There's breaking rules, right? So you can argue with me as much you want, because I know there's many people arguing with me. Oh, I don't care your rules. Okay, that's why your stuff is so freaking ugly, because you don't care about the rules. So don't care about the rules. Sometime I had a conversation with her, somebody that want to hire me, right? And he say, okay, yeah, but I don't want rules. I want you to fix my UI, but I don't want your rules. I want mine. So I said, you know what? You have the best version of what you want. The best version of what you want, you have it, right? Because that's
Mhm.
what you did. You
Yeah.
understand? Right, okay. So when there's rules. So that makes so you need to put that in your head that if you don't want to follow the rules, well, you're going to get a ticket, or the worst case scenario, an accident, right?
Mhm.
So yeah, there's rules. Yeah, on the street there's rules. Arts rules. You need to learn. You need to have and then after that you need to have a talent. But that sometimes is not necessary on FileMaker to have talents, right? Because you can come and see others who has some talent and borrow it, right? No problem. That's why we're here, right? It's because we have plenty of people at RCC with talents, and you can borrow this, borrow ideas. I'm doing that all the time, you know. That's why,
Mhm.
one day, when I was doing this new interface that I built, the Morpheus one, right? I was working on this interface for months, and I was, reading article, watching videos, YouTube, like designer influencers, because we have this in the design industry. We have influencers that influence the future design, the
Mhm.
evolution in design, because and they had conversation from other designers, and we talk about design and stuff like this. So, and I was borrowing and I was learning, right? New rules, new concept, new ideas, new ways, right? And one
Yeah.
day I opened my Facebook page, right? And kaboom, they were it was like exactly what I was doing, not because they copy me or because I copy them. It's because, well, we are following the same influencers, the same people, the same article, the same, all the designer community, because that's a designer community. We all talk to each other and we all borrow, and and we land and we arrive at the same conclusion, right? And so that's why, for example, when I open my the Facebook, I said,
Mhm.
okay. So, and I was very annoyed because I said, okay, now everybody will say I copied for Facebook, because they nobody will trust that Facebook copied Nick Hunter. No, and I'm not pretending it. But I didn't copy it neither. It's because we come to the same conclusion, right? And after that, a few days later, I opened my Penny Mac, like my mortgage company. Kaboom! That's the same layout. They move, they change the design with the same thing. And then you go LinkedIn, kaboom! Another time. This
Mhm.
is all the industry change with this new way. A very slick, flat, white, gray, without anything on the layout, right? If you go ChatGPT, for example, you have two buttons and a square, right? There's
Mhm.
no UI at all. And the best UI is when you have none, when you don't need, right? And sometimes
Yeah.
sometimes you can reach that level, right? But all of these discussions, because there's rules. The rule change, there's evolution, because the rules we had in the 80s, in 1984, 85, the designer back in the day they had, you know, well, first they didn't have rules because they made them, in 84, like
Mhm.
this, for example, if I show you, a square like this with a corner folded inside, what it is, a document, well, they invented this, or the folder, right? They invented
Mhm.
this, the trash, the window, all all of this, the menu. So they came with all those rules. But since then, we evolved, because technique evolved, software is more capable, right?
Mhm.
And people are educated some way, and now we cannot go back, so when you when you follow the rules, right, the big problem you will encounter is which rule, or all this world of the design, which rules apply to FileMaker. And that's what we're going to do now. Okay, so I'm going to come with all those rules and I'm going to bring them, and only the one that applies to FileMaker will, you need to take care of, right?
Other than that, David A just said where to look for new UI UX things.
But that's not the best is YouTube. You know, you go YouTube and you type UI UX design, and you have plenty of people talking about this. I didn't come. I will come with some people that I'm following, right?
Mhm.
So I will come with name, but I have so many. I want to narrow down to the best, right? Um, you can go TikTok. They talk about so many things. So I'm doing this. I don't. There's no website. Those people are way above, way ahead. They use
Mhm.
YouTube. They use, they don't use the website per se. There's no object you can borrow. There's no, just you can borrow a concept, an idea, right? But most of the time, for example, I'll give you an example. I'm selling my house in the US, right? Okay.
Yep.
And so the title company said, oh, okay, you need to go to that website and answer a bunch of questions about the house. Okay, so a bunch of forms, and the site named Glide. Okay, so they use Glide to do this, and it was like a survey. You have a group of questions on the left, and then you click, and each time you're done answering, on the left, it show you a checkbox green, right? That means, okay, you answer all the question there. So, and until everything green, you cannot say submit, right?
Yep.
So, and it was interesting because um, some month ago, I was working for that guy, John Renbolt, right?
Yep.
And I built something for him. And I said, damn, it looks really, really familiar to me,
Yeah.
because, well, a survey with a bunch of questions and with a submit button on the bottom. Well, there's no 2 billion ways to do that. There's only one way, and, or two ways, but they're very similar, right? But on Glide, they had a very good ideas. They have very good visual concept that I loved. And I said, okay, let borrow those, I mean, this cool. I like it. So I said, okay, let's borrow the concept, and maybe later, I will use it because they had some good idea. So I'm borrowing like everybody does in the industry. Like, oh yeah, I like this. Oh no, I don't like this. You know what I mean? So, and it is good, because sometimes when I see something, so I'm borrowing. I'm not ashamed to do that, because I know I saw that since I did this, I built this new FMSP version with the new UI. Well, I see the design I built and everywhere, and I'm happy. And you should do it. You should embrace it, right? Because the design I built was 2 years work, not 2 minutes, right? And I will explain why, right? So, but I needed to have this quick conversation with you, um, to explain, the feeling, the feeling. So you're going to convey a feeling. So you need to be careful of what you do. First, when you have a polished and clean UI, right, you convey a
Mhm.
feeling that is the most important for you. Confidence. It feels confident. It feels quality. It feels like, wow, this is quality work, right? And
Yeah.
most of the people will recognize it, right? Because they will feel comfortable. So when you feel comfortable, say, oh yeah, I feel comfortable. I can see, I can understand, right? So when I built something and I said, okay, 2 weeks later, I say, oh, I didn't hear about nothing about the new layout. And say, yeah, are you okay? Yeah, fantastic. I don't need you. I don't need help. I understand everything. I know where the things are. I know what they do. No worries. But that's good, right? Because
Mm.
not only you want to convey the feeling of confident and, comfortable and quality, but
Mhm.
also you want something that is, right there, ready to use. You click, poof, it works, right? But this is not that easy. And I, that during all those days that we will talk about. So if we don't have any question, I can start sharing my screen and start working on stuff. So yesterday we talked about eliminating things, eliminating, you need to eliminate as much as possible. Buttons, unnecessary boxes, unnecessary lines, unnecessary stuff, right? Because this is a lot of work. It's a lot of work, right?
Yep.
When you have a lot of more objects you will have, less easy it will be to understand, to read. It will be like cumbersome. It will be like difficult to read. So I have some example here. Okay. So we talk about buttons, and we are going to talk about buttons later and during all the course, but now I want to talk about labels. Okay. So I want to talk about labels because this is a big problem, you know, labels. When I say label, this is a label. Okay. Labels, label, label. Okay. Sometime label makes sense. Sometime labels doesn't. Okay.
Yep.
Doesn't need a label. For example, if I go here, let me show you the screen, complete screen. So when you go there, right? And so when you go there and you, what's the name? You display something on the screen, right? You don't need to display labels, right? So let me do this. So you don't need to display labels. Here, what 2024, what this is an invoice. This is an invoice. So what 2024 will mean to you if you see that in an invoice? That an invoice, another invoice, another invoice. So
The
what
year.
is 2024? Okay, it's the year. So how you know that? Because it makes sense. Okay? It makes sense. See, you see 2024, and then you will see 2025, and then you see 2023. You understand this is a year of the billing of that invoice. Then, when you see this number here, EINV underscore 040220, and then you see INV 040221, what this is?
Invoice number.
Okay. Then let's pretend you are a property tax expert, in your area, okay, and you really know, right? Because you are in this field, you know that a number with 13 digits, this is a parcel number. So this,
Okay.
what this is for
Yep.
you. If you know that a number with 13 digits, it's a parcel number. Okay, you know it's a parcel number. You know that the amount due. I don't need to tell you due, right? Because this is a due invoice, okay? Outstanding invoice, okay? You know due on, okay, if I put now you have a good example. If I put a date, just the date, well, what it is, the date of creation of the invoice, the date sent, the dates due. No, here I put an additional information to remove any kind of misunderstanding. Okay, so
Makes sense.
here I don't need labels. Here I don't need label. I don't need to say tax year, invoice number, parcel number, due amount due. I don't need, right? But here, yes, I do need due on this. I do
Yep.
need that. Well, this 74, Adventura Plaza place. Well, we know this is the address of that parcel. right? Because obviously this is an address, right?
Yeah.
You know, Rosewood Road, it cannot be the recipe of grandma cookies, right? It's not. So, so you see, we don't need freaking labels. We don't. And I know this invoice is a contingency invoice. You know, I know it. So I use here the real estate in my advantage. Since I need to show up to 4 rows in that widget, because this is what we call it. We call that a widget. Since I need to come with 4 digits, the 4 rows in that widget, well, that gives me the opportunity to use a side as an additional information without making the thing like overwhelming, right? In addition to this, so yeah, we can rotate a piece of text. So we pretty much we can rotate everything that is text. We can rotate. You know, I can rotate the button. You know, I can have a button like this. You know, rotate, rotate, rotate. I can rotate a piece of text. Okay, text. You know, you can rotate it. Rotate, rotate. See,
Yep.
can rotate like this, right? We can, but we cannot rotate a field. Ha. Oh, I don't have a field here. Let me create a field. We can't rotate a field. That a bummer. But yeah, field.
And why can't you rotate a field?
Because it would have been a nightmare for them for the data entry. You know what I mean? How you type this, you know? I mean, how you type a field if you rotate the field. Oh yeah, we can.
You type, yeah, I'm
Yeah,
like,
we
you
can.
type, so when you
Yeah,
type, it's
yeah, 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 yeah,
horizontal
yeah,
and then
yeah,
you
yeah,
enter
yeah.
and
It can.
yeah,
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. They changed that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We can. We can. We
yeah.
can. We can. We can. Yeah, I forgot about this. They changed this. Doing it. You know, it was a time we couldn't. So yeah, we can. But yeah, okay. So we can rotate. But
Hey,
for
look at that.
sure, but for sure, we cannot rotate a pole. That's for sure.
Mm,
You know, let's
gosh, hopefully you
let's
wouldn't want
assume
to.
because
Yeah, yeah,
FileMaker
yeah,
FileMaker
yeah.
changed, but this I'm pretty sure we cannot. No, we can. If I go there or arrange, rotate is not. So we can't rotate. We cannot rotate neither a tab, rotate. No, we can't rotate a slide. We cannot. That for sure. And we can't rotate. Yeah, button bar we can.
Hmm.
Button bar we can. No, we cannot. See, rotate we cannot because it's complex object. So we cannot rotate this. We can rotate this. We can, okay, this we can, this we can, this we can. Okay, field we can. I don't know from since when we can do that. Button we can. Text we can. So of course that include, that include, formatted text.
Hmm.
Okay. Okay, so we can like I use in, like this, right?
Yep.
So this is better if I rotate like this and the field rotate, right? Like this. Right? So you can, but those object here we can, okay? Pop over, not neither, I mean, we can rotate, let me check this. So I don't think yeah, we can rotate the pop over, but it will still pop. It will still pop this way. Okay, so it doesn't change this, right? but we can orient this, but not this, right? The panel we can, with the button, yes. Okay, I can rotate the button for the popover, right?
Yep.
Okay. So that's why, since I have this opportunity here, and I'm using that quite a lot, and at the same time, right, I use that with a conditional to give me another information. So look, all the information I put in one unique small place like this. So imagine that you don't know how to use Deign, right? How you can build this, right? So when you use something like this, first you see I have the accent color, you remember?
Yep.
Because this is, and smaller. This is an additional info. It's something like, it's not the most important here. The most important is how much the amount. So it's bigger, it's black, right? And here it's smaller and gray. So why we do this, that give you a depth of importance, a hierarchy. Okay. This is not that important, but I want it to stand out without crushing, because it is not the most important, but I want that to stand out. I want this to stand out more, right? And then I'm making bigger. I'm not going to make it bold, red, flashing, blinking. No, it's not enough. That crush. If you do something like this, bold, if I put that bold red, no, it's just bigger. And you use like a gray, the gray. So you use this. So you use the colors to calm down, so this is bigger and black, and then okay, this is smaller and gray, so you calm down visually. You have this stand out, if you
Yep.
look at this stand out, right? You understand? So no labels, no freaking labels. So why? Because in the context it makes sense. So now you know that you need to bring context. This here, this piece here is in the context. I am in the context of invoices. So everything I put here needs to make sense in the current context. Okay. This is the invoice. Those are contacts. Okay. They are contacts, right? So I need to, what's the name? So I have the contact ID, the name, address, phone number, right?
Yeah.
And I have how we are going to send that invoice to them. Okay. So we have a smart calculation that says, okay, we send to them by email, by USPS, by email, so you have a filter here. Those are by USPS, right? And
Yeah.
and those by emails, right? So I have a filter here, right? So I know that here, right? And I have also a color code to say, okay, when you say all, okay, the blue USPS and email is orange, right? So we have two different widgets, but they all look the same, but they show different information. Okay.
Yeah.
Depending on what you want to stand out, but they all have the same pattern. This smaller blue accent color, bigger red, black, and then gray. So you can use, for example, you can use smartly all of those things. For example, how to avoid labels. Okay. There's many ways. Sometimes it is important that you have a label because otherwise you don't know what it is. You know, the contact ID, boom, the contact name, boom, you know, the active password 9, or, you know, the client portal. This is, you know, the like process, you know, due on, first sent, last sent, but you understand something here, right? Due on, first sent, last sent, but I don't say date. I never said date anywhere, you know? This looks like a date, right? So
Yep.
I don't need to say due date. I said
Mhm.
due on. So I repeat the same terminology, right?
Yep.
But this here visually looks like a date. This looks like a date. So I don't need to say this is a date. I just need to say what date is, right? So you
Yep.
avoid a word. Date first sent. That will be big. I don't say date first sent because I don't need. This is a date. It cannot be anything else. This also is a date, but I like this widget here because it's proof, right?
Yeah.
It flash. This is how to read. This is not. And of course, right, I'm using some color code. Due red,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Due is red. The first is the standard accent color, but the last sense that the current, so it's green. This is now good, right?
And
You
can
know,
I ask a question?
yes.
So somebody actually in Discord has a question, but it also goes in line with what I'm going to ask, sort of. So the last cent, is it green because it matches the green over on the left-hand side of like how many emails are sent? Or why did you pick the color green for last sent?
Yeah, last sentence, because that is to say current now. You know, green
Okay.
is now, is okay, we good. You know,
Okay.
it's now, is the current state. You know, green is
Okay.
okay, all good. You know, when is red, red, bad, right?
Something
Bad, not
needs to happen,
sent,
not sent.
right?
Yeah.
So, you know, so not sent. Why we didn't send that to this email, this invoice of $80,
Got
right?
it. Okay.
So why?
That makes
So
sense.
it's, so yeah, so green, it could have been blue, but I want to say, okay, yeah, because since I have the red, you know, sometime, and I can have
Mhm.
also the orange, you know, I want red is like, uh-uh, right?
Right. Yep.
Uh-uh, right? So
And
we
green
can
is good.
use,
I get that.
yeah, we can use all the color like this. For example, here, you know, I want to say, okay, this is the auto setting. You know, the
Hmm.
auto setting say, okay, this contact for that type of invoice for that amount, it's okay by email. But I can say, yeah, but I can override this because this guy, you know, it doesn't read his email, right? It's not good on email. Let's say it's not good on email. Okay, so I'm clicking the USPS button. I have an override for that customer, right? So now I have an override. Boom, is red.
Yeah.
I have something happening here.
Hmm.
I have an override. Is red. So when here, you know, when you say auto, okay, it keep the colors, you know, the regular colors code, you know, like orange. But when I say I change the preference, so something happened, something not normal happening here. Yes, I want that to stand out. It's USPS, but it's overrided.
Okay.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Okay.
I have two questions. One person was asking, yesterday you said that you would share your theme.
Yes.
For this, is that something that they'll get now or get at the end?
In the middle, let's
Okay.
say, because I want you guys, because I build a theme for Discord theme. So I build when I build a theme, I don't want to share with you a piece of junk, right? I want something like this. with all the objects built, buttons, controls, pull small, pull minimal, with this type of effect, with
Yeah.
this effect. So I want all the objects, the text, pretty much all the styles in the theme to be there, you
Got it.
know?
Okay. Yep.
So, and I, unfortunately, I didn't build that for this. And I want pretty much what I'm going to do, I'm going to repurpose this with the new theme.
Okay.
And at the same time, I want to make sure that it is clean, because sometimes, I'm modifying the theme for the customer I'm in. So
Hmm.
I don't want that to happen to you, and
Yeah,
I
that makes
think
sense.
if you guys get something like this, as clean as this would be cool, right? Also, I
Yeah.
can share the Discord team with them, because somebody wanted like a dark color
Hmm.
theme, which we don't have a lot,
Yeah.
and this one is really cool, because I analyze Discord application, the UI, and I borrow the colors and the behaviors, and something like, see the hover, and I borrow their styles and stuff like this, from Discord, right? So um to make this, right? So I'm going to
Okay.
at one point I will share with you this.
Okay. Yeah, I
So
know some people are commenting. Sorry, I have one other question, but then some people are
yes,
commenting on
yeah,
having a light version, like light versus dark mode, because some people don't like dark mode and vice versa.
yes.
Um, so if you have that, cool. So a question, another question that we had is, have you created a solution for somebody with color blindness, so red-green color blindness? And if you have, do you have any tips for visual accessibility for stuff like that?
Yes, I have a tip
Okay.
for colorblind people, and I'm going to come to that right now.
Okay.
Sometimes, color is not enough.
Hmm.
Sometimes it's not enough. The colors is okay, but there's some limits. For example, that doesn't apply for colorblind people. But let's say you have uh something, a piece like this. So let's borrow. So you have something like this. Let's borrow those piece here. So let's say you have something like this, and here it says sent. Okay, it said sent. So let's delete those. So it said sent. So let's delete those. Okay, and to me, the color sent is green. To me, it means green sent. But then you say yes, but I have another state that said, yeah, sent, but also paired, right? So sent is
Yeah.
green,
Hmm.
green good. So
Hmm.
what you want paired cannot cannot be red, because why is, it's bad, it's
Because
good,
yeah, yep.
it's good. I mean, it's good, it's gone. I have the money, and I went to the Bahamas with the money, right? And I spend the money, so it's good. But it's I use green sand as well. Well, this is bad. Ha,
Mm.
the dark, the dark green. So the light green sand, that okay.
Yep.
The what's the name? The dark green is bad. And when you have a list, that stand out. You know,
Yeah.
you know, that stand out. When you have a list and you have so you have something like this, oh, right? Let's pretend we have
Yep.
you have a pole like this, and you have two paired, right?
Yep.
It stand out visually. Oh, okay, dark green, right? So you have plenty of opportunity here to use the color. But for colorblind people, and what I'm going to show you now that apply to colorblind people, I want also to have something like this. Let's say, so I have an override here. I have an override for the preference to send a USPS or email, right? But I can have also an override on which letter and which email this guy will receive, because I have gradually, hey, dear customer, we love you. You're the best customer ever. We love you so much. We think about you every day. Here, your invoice, right? And then we have the due 15 day. Hey, super customer, we still love you. You are the very best guy, but I think you forgot about us. But that's okay because we think about you.
Mm-hmm.
30 days. Yeah, okay. You know what? We love you, but can you read us, please?
Mm-hmm.
45 and 150. Well, okay, collection.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So, but sometimes you have bad people and they say, okay, here I want the past due letter free upfront for that guy, you know. So that means I have an override, right? So what I do to show the override to the guy, boom, I have a flag. That for colorblind people, it's cool, right? That's cool because, okay, I have a red flag. Red flag
Mm-hmm.
say, hey, we have something here. We have an override for that guy, you know? There's an override somewhere. So you don't know where. It could be an email here, for example, So you say, okay, when you see this, you go to that guy and you go to the preferences and you can see that the guy has two overrides. Here I have an override and here I have an override, right?
Yeah.
So I have two overrides for that guy. Okay. So you can see. So you see the UI. The UI helps you, okay, I have nothing here, nothing here, nothing here. Here and here I have an override. Why? Because, well, I have my UI telling me. I have this
Mm-hmm.
checkbox. Say, okay, yeah, I have an override here. There's something here, you know? And here in the list, you can see, yeah, here I have an override, has invoice override. So not only the I have the flag, right?
Mm-hmm.
But also I have the tooltip, that say, okay, yeah, you
Yeah.
have something here. But I have, so we call that a badge. You have a badge, right?
Yeah.
Like like for
Visual
example,
indicator. Yeah.
if I come here and I go to info and I lock that, where's the do I have the where's the oh lock?
It's like,
If
yeah.
I lock, poof, I have a badge,
Yeah.
right? Because
Yep.
it's locked, right? So you use this, say, okay, you have a badge, and then I can have another one. So okay, yeah, but this guy, we love it. This guy. Okay, this guy, we hate this guy. This guy never pays. We need to. I need to go. I need to drive to that guy to pay me. So don't send anything to that guy,
Oh,
right?
okay.
So then we have another badge. Say okay, the heart broken. You know,
Hmm.
broken
Yeah.
heart. That
Yep.
means okay, this guy doesn't love it. Doesn't love us at all. So it's okay. Don't worry about that guy. We don't send anything. These guys, I drive to him. Don't
Okay.
send. Don't bother sending it.
Okay.
Okay.
Um, Jesse on Discord wants to know if those buttons icons are with hide conditions.
Yes, but there's a catch.
Okay.
Haha. Because I want that to work correctly. And that's where we come. That's why we come here. Because FileMaker is super freaking great for UI, but you need to know. And because otherwise it doesn't work well. So this is where I want to land. I want to land that topic of if you want to mimic a behavior of a UI component, it needs to work 100% as it should be anywhere else in the software industry. If it doesn't work 100% the same, don't use it. Don't try to build it or call somebody to build it for you because it needs to work the right way, which is this. Here I have two.
Mhm.
The heart it moved to the right, to the left. Here I have
Right,
one.
based on the other flag of, yeah.
Yes. So how you do that? Ask the audience.
Is it a
And
button bar with hide condition? Yeah, I don't.
yes, it is a button bar with a hard condition, but that's a catch. And I'm going to show you. This is why you're here, right? So I'm going to teach you how to do a bar that works, and you can have like 5, 6, 7. Not don't put more. I mean, don't put more than 3, or otherwise it will be like unreadable. You don't want to be like I don't know if you ever uh, drove in France. I did. You have a panel every 50 meters. You know, every 200 feet you have a panel telling you something. you know they say, oh, be careful, soon you have a curve. Okay, oh, the curve is coming. Oh yeah, the curve is there. Oh, you pass the curve. So that's France. They have a OCDs with those panels. I think you have some politician that get some good money with this, but you know so but don't do the same. Don't overwhelm. you know don't use more than 2, 3, sometimes 4. you know or you can put many, knowing that you won't show more than 2 or 3 at the same time. Okay,
Okay.
you know what I mean. Okay, so here it behaves like it should be, because
Yeah.
it push. If I put the second one here, both. If I remove, it move.
Hmm.
If I put here, if I remove the flag here, so
Hmm.
I remove this and I remove this, right? The
Yep.
flag will go away normally, both.
There it
And
goes.
the heart moves to the left,
Yep.
to the right. Okay. So it works like it should be. If you go in your app or anywhere and you have like badge like this, it will work like this. Okay. So how that works? Well, here the catch. So let's put that object here, right? So it's a button bar,
Hmm.
right? So uh, you need to, so you have 2 bars here. So you have a button bar with 2 objects, right?
Yep.
Of course you use icons like this, and I'm going to show you you know, where to add icons, right? So I have 2 icons. I have this one and I have this one. I have the flag here and I have the flag here,
Yep.
right? And I have the heart and the flag. So we have a hide condition here, right? But if you hide, what will happen? It won't move this segments, because this is how we call it, in
Hmm.
the bottom bar. This is the name of this is a segment.
Right.
Okay. The segment won't move. It will increase in size. Shook. So this object here is 38 to 26. So this object here inside it's the half of the 38, because the 38 is the whole object.
Mm.
So if you hide this one will get bigger both. So what you need to do is to align the icon to the right. And that will make,
Oh,
yeah, this icon, this segment will take all the place, all the real estate of that object, but the icon will go to the right.
yeah. Mm.
Of course, this work because this is positioned to the right, but if
Hmm.
that was positioned to the left, I don't want that one, but I want the opposite.
Yeah.
So if I want to make the opposite, well, you got it. You say you want the object to go to the left,
Yep.
right? So if I show you now, so if I show both, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I put yes here. Okay, see if I show both this one and this one. I don't know why. When I do zoom, everything's so super slow. So if I put both the hertz, this one will come to the right of the objects. It will come both, right? See, it come to the right. And if I remove this, right? If I remove the hertz, this icon here will go to the left, and this icon here will go to the right. So I don't know if you can see both at the same time, but see, so it moved. So let's put back. Poof, see, so look here. I removed, you see the flag, go to the left. So
Yep.
look here. You look here now. I click here, you see the flag, poof, this go to the right, to the left here, and this push, because the anchor, the alignment is on the left and right. So depending on where you have this widget here of the flag of the badge, right? You have a different behavior. But this is what you do. So you have a hidden object, right? Of course, okay. You put for each segment you have the tooltip, of course, and on both, and here, well, I'm using a tag, to a tag is 0, 1, true, false, right? To make this calculation easy.
Yeah.
Okay. Because you don't want something complicated here. Okay. So it's, you put your hidden state here, and that's it. And you have your badge panel working perfectly, right? As it should be. You can make it a button if you want, but I don't typically use this. Okay. I don't typically do this. Use this as a button, as an action. I don't. Okay.
Okay.
Because it's too small. It's too, it's not a good practice. You can do it, but it's not a good practice. Right. So that, for colorblind people, this is how you need to do. This is the best answer, right? So you need to, I start using AI to generate my icons, right? And but there's many outside, and I didn't really elect the one I like the most. So I'm going to tell you, later which one I like. But also, otherwise, you can use this website I'm showing a lot. So I pause my layout because I don't want to show my, password, whatever.
Well, yep. All your secrets.
No, the password stuff, Okay. So I was, using this recently, so for PayPal stuff. So you can say, okay, you want, I don't know, you want paid status, for example, you want paid, invoice paid. I know they have, so you can have paid like this, something like this. So you can, but so when you have an icon like this, yeah, it can be, let's say, complex objects, right? But when it's a badge, it's small. So you understand that if you use that as a badge, you won't see anything, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So,
And
yeah,
real quick with these, is there a version of Flat Icon that is free, or do you have to pay for these?
it's free if you put in your solution the credits. You need to mention, I mean,
Interesting.
you want
Okay.
to follow the rule. You can use for free, but you need to put somewhere in the info that, oh, by the way, the icons in that solution comes from flaticons.com.
Mm. Okay.
Otherwise, you pay, but I pay $10 a month.
Okay. And does
You
that
know,
give you it like paying monthly? Does that give you
yeah,
like
yeah,
unlimited or it's
it's unlimited, and you can, you can change the, you
size?
can change the size, of the SVG. You can paint. You can edit the icon and paint it, like
Oh, cool.
this. So I mean, you know, you can save the. I mean,
Yeah.
I like it. I like this website. I think it's good, and uh, it makes my job so much better. It helped me. So I give the credit to the people. I'm working on the software industry, so so I know I can imagine the time they spend there, and they deserve it,
Mhm.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
you know, it's $10 a month. We're not talking about millions.
Yeah.
So
No, I know a handful of people that work with us that use that.
yeah, because that's the best software for the icons online, you know. And you can see there's a lot of things that's similar, right?
Yeah.
Right? Gray, whites, light bars, no, not too plus. Custom
Yeah.
palette. Why don't have a label, right? Why don't have? You
Because you
know,
don't need it because you already know
because
it.
I
Yeah.
don't need a custom palette. You can click, boom, you have a custom
Yep.
palette, right? And if I save it, then I can save another one,
Yep.
like this, save, right? Plus, I need to add a new color to that. No, you understand? I don't need.
Yeah.
And here the same. See, the remove palette is not there. I have this is a meatball. So
Hmm.
the this is kebab. This is meatball. Okay, it's kebab meatball. So you
That
have a
make me
meatball
hungry.
menu.
Why are they
Yeah.
all food related?
So you have meatball. You have a meatball, and then you say remove. And guess what? What do you see here? Guess what? Remove is red. Do I lie to you?
No.
No. Okay. And I didn't anticipate that demo. I didn't build it. It's there,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
So the remove color, that's all right. Remove, but if you remove the whole thing, you want to make sure. And then you have this and say, oh, you
Are you sure you want
remove
it? Yeah.
red, big, flashy, bling, 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 destroy the world. Are you sure? You know, right?
Yep.
Do I lie to you? No, right? So you need to borrow the same concept, right? The same
Yeah.
concept. Save. Oh, guess what? What the color of save button?
Save green because save is good.
It's green because good, it's nice. Yeah, green. We love green. You know, we love green stuff, right? But here, red, no, it's good. It's very bad. You know, so that the idea, right? So those things is um, you know. So, but here, for example, that good example. What this button is going to do?
That save, but oh yeah,
Look carefully.
it's gonna save it to Pinterest.
Okay, you're well educated, right? So why the button doesn't say save to Pinterest? Because it doesn't need, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, we don't need.
You use the icons like you said. When you can use icons, you don't need to use words.
Yes, and here, new green is good. New is green. If I put new with red, say why is bad? Why is new with bad? No, it's green. It's good. You know,
Hmm.
you understand, right?
Yeah.
And then they use the same type of, and as you can see here, do you see many bars? Do you see many or boxes within boxes within boxes, like I see all the time with FileMaker, box. No, there's no box. It's floating in the air, you know. It's floating
Hmm.
in the air, you know.
Yeah.
And so you have a big box, white, then you have a smaller one here, gray, right? And
Yeah.
here you have like this, right? So you have This is where you change. This is where you download the thing. Okay. And this is where you copy, but it's not green. It's not green and green because it will be confusing. Correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So here they said more formats. But what it's doing is adding more format. I don't need to say add more format because there's a plus button, right?
Yeah.
Here, they felt that they need to say collection, add to collection. They feel that the plus this to collection wasn't explicit enough. So they feel, I don't know if in that case I would have say plus to collection. No, it doesn't work well. They had a good reason to do that. They did the right thing to do
Yeah.
that. So what that means, download, right? We know
Yep.
that icon download, right? So, well, so just in one small, layout like this, you can see some of the pattern you can borrow, and I'm using the same thing all the time, right? You understand? Especially this type of when you say edit icon here, this type here. See, they use vertical, and I use horizontal, but sometimes I use vertical as well. But it's the same. It's the same pattern here, right? It's the same type of things, right?
Yeah.
So you understand that the labels don't put labels, or it needs to be small, right? That the dates, I could have said creation, by the way, here. Okay. Actually, it's a mistake. Actually, I should say creation date. I mean creation. I don't need to, so I can, I don't need to. Yeah, I have so many groups inside. I remove this object here. So this is the creation. Okay. So that better. Creation, do, send, ped. I don't need date. Right?
So I actually have a question on that. And I could be wrong, but just speaking from my experience, wouldn't the date sent in the creation? Oh, okay. I think I just answered my own question. Never mind. The sent is different. I was thinking that the sent and the creation date would be the same, but if you're sending more
No,
than one,
no,
then
no.
never mind.
Yeah,
Ignore.
because you can send. No,
Yep.
no, because you can send many times.
Yep.
Okay. So that will be the last sent.
Yep. Yep. I remembered that.
Okay. Okay. And the ped, of course. So you can put the ped here, right? So this object here, also I can show you, if you want, right quick, I can show you how to build that object, and then we go. Okay.
Okay.
The date object. Okay. Very simple. Before I was like building a calculation that was, it was a pain in the where. And I said, no way. Yeah, I need to find a way to build this in a very, very simple manner. And I found it. So let's take this one. I show it already, but I can. So let's duplicate this and put it here. So yeah. Okay. So it's two fields. So let's deconstruct it. Okay. So it's two fields. One field, and both, point to the same field. The billing date invoice last sent. Okay. They both go to that same field. Those two fields, they are the same. Okay. When you want to get me. But okay, they have a different appearance, right? One is bigger, and I use padding here because I want to make it to appear here, right? So I play with the padding to make it centered the way I want, a little bit not centered, but a little bit down. So I make a little bit more of this. I have the color. And here I have another, smaller, bigger, smaller. Okay. And when you put that together, right,
Hmm.
then you build something like this. So and then you have, this is 1 digits, and then I have month, year here. Okay. So how I'm doing this here, I go to the data formatting, and it's a custom one, and I say, show me the day of the dates, just the number of the day. Okay. And then blank, non-blank, non-blank, non-blank. I want just this, right? And this is another custom, and I say, show me the abbreviation of the month and the year with a space. Okay. The
Okay.
space here.
Yep.
Okay. That's it. And you have this.
Nice.
So sometimes people say, yeah, but I want to know, right, that
Hmm.
this is like a Wednesday, or I want the day. I want to know the
Sure.
day.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you do the same thing like this. Okay. You duplicate this. Same. You make it, I don't know, 8, but you can make it gray, for example, right? And you can remove this and you put it here, right? And here, data formatting, you say, okay, I want none here. I want no space. And here, I want Wednesday, for example, or WED,
Yeah.
but,
Yep.
you know,
Mhm.
so now you have a new object, right? And you have, Wednesday, so 13 November.
Yeah.
Okay. So you can do that, so you can improve your, your widget if you want, right?
Hmm.
I prefer to use this as for my label, right?
Yeah.
Right. Then it comes to the editing, because you want to sometimes you want to edit uh, that um, um, date. So this is the objects. So the object here is billing date invoice. So let's go to the billing date invoice. Last sent max. New is max. Yeah. So so of course, this is not browsable, right? Those two, you don't type anything here, right? But
Right.
here, you can pop the drop down calendar, so this one you can edit. So it points to the same fields you put
Mm.
on top of this, right? So you put on
Okay.
top of this, right? Like this, right? You put on top of it. So when you click on this, right, you're going to
Yeah.
edit, but you don't want to see anything in this stuff. You don't
Yeah.
want to, you need to be blank, and it's pretty big. So you use like this. You put a padding like, on the other side, you put a big padding on 200. That means, you know,
Mm.
you know what I mean here?
Yep.
So you put a padding to put the text will appear somewhere here.
Yeah.
Okay. So is on top of it, and you click here, boom.
So then you can change the date of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you need to edit the dates with, you want to type it, because some people say, yeah, but I don't want to use this, click, 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 like this, I don't want to use this. I want just to type, right?
Hmm.
That's for tomorrow.
Okay. Tomorrow for Friday. That's for Friday.
Yeah. Oh, Friday. Yeah, yeah. Oh, so Friday is confirmed.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Cool. So I just kind of want to like I think sort of like recap what this whole discussion has been is that um, labels are important, but less is more. And so instead of having labels everywhere, you use the style of the information that you are putting in, like on the layout to signify, is that the importance of what you're displaying?
Yes. Yes. So that means, for example, you have things that are you can recognize at a glance without labels, like an address, like a phone number, like an email, for example, But when you have two emails, like home, professional email, personal email, so you need a label in that case, because if you have two emails, which one is what, right? But you don't need, but because it looks so much like an email, right? Blah 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 at blah blah dot something. So you don't need to put that email. You say, okay, this is personal, professional. You don't need to say email, professional, professional email, professional. You don't need.
Yeah.
You need to add the word email, like like the website. They say, okay, plus more, plus
Hmm.
more. They didn't say add more, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes, but if you have one email, well, you don't need a label at all.
Yeah.
It's
Yep.
obvious, right? In
Yep.
that case, before we go, you need a label. Uh, you need a label in the email only in one situation. When you have an email and you want a label, only in one situation, and I'm going to show you where, is this. You select this option here, see this option here, and you drag this field here. And now you need to know it's an email when it's empty, right?
Hmm.
So you have the label inside the fields that say, okay, this is an email. This field is email. Because if you have a blank field without label, you don't know what it is.
Yep.
But you know what it is, when you have something like this, you know,
Yep.
that it's an email.
Hmm.
But if you have two emails, then you need to know here professional, personal,
Hmm.
right? You need,
Yeah.
but if you have one, you need to know it's an email when it's empty. Same for address, and same for
Hmm.
city, zip, country. I mean, like street. You put this,
Yeah.
so you don't need you put uh, when you have an address, you put the label address, and then you have one field, two field, three fields. Say, okay, street one, street two, city, zip, states, right?
Yep.
But it's the whole thing. It's an address. But
Yeah.
when it's field, well, you don't need the labels anymore. You
Right.
need
Yeah.
you need TX. TX is Texas. CA it's California.
Hmm.
You know the 138 West Rose Street, that's an address, and you
Hmm.
know what the city looks like, and of course the country even more, right?
Yep.
So you do a huge economy in terms of labeling, right? Then after that, you can use badges, color scheme wisely, not everywhere. You
Hmm.
know, it's
Yep.
hard to tell where and when. It's based on. So you need to. So now you know the rule to not overuse that, right? So you know that you need to calm down, right?
Hmm.
And
Yes.
sometimes you need to maximize. That was the terminology that I was using. Maximize the real estate by putting vertical things, so you can use the real estate vertical that
Hmm.
add you an additional space. It's like adding an additional cabinetry, right? Inside you,
Yep.
so yeah, and then you can build something that you have a lot of information, right? Without being cumbersome to read.
No, that's awesome. Thank you, Nick. Um, yeah, I mean, I learned a few things in there that I didn't know before, and so that is great. Appreciate your time. So thank you all for your time, and we will see you next time.
Okay, thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.